Chapter 153 to 156. It's been a few hours since Amon and Rocky entered Shandora again. Rocky has been showing off her dragon form to everyone, but Amon didn't stop her. Why would he stop her? To keep the news quiet? First of all, it's not a problem if the news gets out. Secondly, it won't get out. Amon has complete control over this place. He knows how many people were in favor of his ruling and how many were not. He also knew what the chances of him getting betrayed were. He was, in a sense, omniscient in this place. Being omniscient, there was no way a spy would be able to enter this place. There are ways to fool observation hockey, but there are no ways to fool his electromagnetic field sensing abilities without any large equipment that would again attract attention. Currently, Amon knew there were 0 spies here. Ha ha! Look at this! Rocky, who was transformed into a massive flying snake, took a deep breath. The bright sky turned dark as black rain clouds covered the whole sky. Tornadoes appeared far in the white sea, coming towards the upper yard. Without knowing any of Amon's worries, Rocky was showing off her new powers. Snake God! And just as Amon assumed, some old Shandians started to kowtow to her. After a few hours, Rocky was tired, after showing off her new powers and transformation, not to mention the fact that she had to bear the cries of the old people. Fortunately, Wiper managed to control the crowd and clear the area. Now, Amon and Rocky were in the forest area with the snake Nola fidgeting around Rocky. Nola has always seen Amon and Rocky as her master, but now seeing Rocky turning into a snake only made her feel deeply connected to Rocky, even more so than Amon himself. Rocky was playing with Nola while thinking about her powers. For now, she can only use her wind and weather manipulation ability, using which she made bad weather and created lots of tornadoes. Ultimately, when she lost control, Amon had to stop it using his own weather manipulating abilities and the bit of wind manipulation he had. It's imperfect. Amon can manipulate the wind, but it is imperfect. Amon continued thinking. Anyone can create wind cuts and air cannons with enough strength. But I am different. By using the rule of Fishman karate on air, I can achieve a little more versatility. However, 4 years of training isn't enough to achieve the level of control for it to be considered, or there would have been many other air manipulators in this world. However, Amon knew nothing was impossible in this world. After all, there is a martial art that lets a normal person create like Whitebeard, albeit on a smaller scale. But there are ways. If I, a human, can't make a martial art that lets me control the wind, then a supercomputer sure can. Amon noted in his mind. He needs to visit Seraph and discuss this new martial art he wants to make. He couldn't try this using the supercomputers of other moons because he was too busy, but the time has finally come. While Amon was contemplating things, a shout entered his ears as he looked at the source. Nola, you can talk? I never knew. Reiki was with Nola, the snake, and seemingly conversing with her. Amon frowned. Nola had been here for a while now, but Reiki started talking with her just now. It only meant a new power of hers has been triggered. Amon walked closer to Reiki and placed his hands on her shoulder. Reiki, are you okay? Reiki turned around as Amon's eyes narrowed. Her eyes were still golden, but something felt different about them. But brother, why are you naked? Rocky stared at Amon with a red face as Amon kept staring at her with a frown. She can see me naked? I don't recall the Quetzalcoatl having powers related to the eye. It finally hit him. No, that's not it. The myth says Quetzalcoatl has omniscience, but Rocky is clearly the same as she was before. So what is going on? After a while, it became clear. It's an eye that lets her perceive things in a better way. This is the power she got in exchange for omniscience. Suddenly, Rocky's eyes shook as she jumped back. You monster! Just how strong are you? Rocky asked with shaky eyes. Amon looked at it amusingly. Oh? You can see how strong I am? calculating a target's power level. Basic observation. Hockey can do the same, but as the target gets stronger, the harder it is to calculate their strength using hockey. So this means her eyes are a level higher than observation hockey. Amon nodded. Okay, it's a cool eye power. Let's call it for now. Amon didn't feel inferior, though. The sheer fact that the wisdom eyes couldn't see his He-be-bjemtheon playing in his brain was proof of the eye power being somewhat inferior to observation hockey, even if it had some elements where it surpasses it. 2 days have passed since Rocky ate her fruit. Now both Rocky and Amon were in Alabasta's royal palace, with Amon reading a diary, while Rocky was reading a book on snake mythology to understand her powers better. Through the door, Robin entered the royal bedroom, meeting Amon and Rocky on the bed. She slowly walked closer to the bed and sat on the edge. I have bad news. Amon shifted his gaze from the book to Robin's face. Robin sighed and continued. Boa Hancock was defeated by the Marine Vice Admiral along with the islanders of Amazon Lily. Amon yawned. So she was able to hold on for 2 days? No. Robin cut him with a serious look. She was defeated 2 days ago. The news was late since all the brainwashed Marines were turned into stones. I got the news from an Amazon spy. She barely managed to connect to me. Amon closed the book with a serious look on his face. It was disappointing, but it was his fault for overestimating Hancock's powers. I see. 2 days, huh? The Marines must be halfway to Marineford by now. Amon patted Reiki's back with a cheeky smile. Then Reiki, let's go. Let me reintroduce yourself to this world. So what? Hancock lost. That was the plan to begin with. The plan to become the knight in shining armor. Zzz. Otama was in Skypiean. She was at the dining table in the god's shrine eating her food along with Karna. She brought the spoon close to her mouth and ate her food silently with shining eyes. This place is so good, just like the food, she thought. 2 days ago, Big Sister Rocky's appearance caused a festival to start, and it's still ongoing. 2 days ago, even though Wiper barely managed to convince the old people that Rocky wasn't a god and it was only a devil fruit, it was still impossible to stop a festival from starting. Big Sister Rocky is so cool, even though she has a temper. Anyway, the festival is the reason all kinds of food are being made, and I am eating them. So good, Tama thought. She is 4 years old this year. However, she hasn't seen much, nor eaten much food in her life. Food was always scarce in the Wano ruled by Orochi, where poor people died every day. If not for Hitetsu, Tama might have died as well in the wilderness. While appreciating Amon in her mind, thanking him for the food, Tama asked herself a question. He really is a god, isn't he? All the people worshipping him aren't doing it for show. Her young mind was too naive to reach another conclusion. The food was enough for her to believe any word Amon threw towards her. That's how he managed to keep her here, acting so calm. After a while, when Tama was almost done with the food, her eyes landed upon Karna. Karna was eating too, a frown on his face as he was staring at the air, seemingly in deep thought. Otama called him. Hey, you! It's Karna, Karna said as his eyes regained focus, and he looked at her with his black pupils. Seeing him interrupt her, Tama frowned. Yay, Karna. Why don't you go out and play? You are always in this building in that tiny lab of yours. You don't even go when your mom calls. You are being a bad kid, you know. You should listen to your parents. Karna put his spoon down and stared at her face indifferently. My mom mostly calls me to sleep beside her and Dad, and I don't want to live with my parents. It's awkward sleeping with them in the same building. More so, the same room. Karna's face went red as he sighed. Anyway, grow up, you will understand. He then went back to eating. On the first day, Tama disturbed Karna to tell when Amon would come so much that he wasn't able to focus on his dissecting experiment. Assistant my foot. That was the reason he fired her. But it seemed she didn't care at all and made friends with the other kids. She is too extroverted for me. She is the type I don't like. Past 2 days, when the festival was going on, Tama had already made friends with the other kids, but Karna was in the lab Amon made for him and doing experiments. Why did brother bring this little girl here? Wait, she has a useful power, I recall, that's right. Poor girl, she's just a toy. Karna stared at Tama's face with an indifferent look. It's none of my business, though. Tama's frown deepened hearing him. You are wrong. Being with your parents isn't awkward. You should be grateful for that, hear me? She thumped on the table and stared Karna in the face. What's up with this kid? Karna sighed. Why are you acting as you've never slept with your parents? Wait, no, you are just too young to understand. Tama's face darkened, but Karna didn't notice as he continued. Anyway, did you talk with Big Brother? You really wanted to go somewhere, didn't you? Perhaps to your parents? Otama's face darkened further as she said in a barely audible voice, I don't have parents. Karna's eyes grew as he instantly bowed. I am sorry. I didn't realize that. He understood why she was reacting that way before. Strangely, when it came to the topic of parents, Karna was pretty sensitive. So he felt bad for hurting Tama, even if unintentionally. It's fine. Otama sat back on her chair. You didn't know about it, so I guess it's not your fault. Karna raised his head. Thanks, Tama continued. Anyways, I talked with Brother Amon. Yes, he did say to call him that. Anyways, he said Brother Ace, the person I wanted to meet, faced an emergency and wanted to take care of it as soon as possible. Brother Amon thought I shouldn't be there, so he took me away and brought me up here in the sky. Oh! Karna exclaimed in surprise, already guessing these were just some made-up stories. He didn't care about hurting her as long as it was not something related to her parents. Tama continued. It seems Brother Amon has already spoken with Brother Ace, so I guess that's okay. Though I'd like to see Brother Ace once more. She said the last part in a lower tone of voice. Then why not ask him to take you there? Tama nodded at his question. I asked once. He said he was busy, and I can see why. I don't want to be selfish and force Brother Amon to look for Brother Ace. They talked already after all. Though he did promise me that he will take me to see him 2 years later, he said there will be a big event circling around Brother Ace that time. Okay. Karna nodded, uninterested. He knew she was being manipulated, but he didn't care. Anyway, I recently discovered her power lets her control animals. Perhaps I should take her back as an assistant. She can collect good materials for me, heh. Deciding, be offered. So what do you think about rejoining me? No, you're boring. I'll play with my other friends, she said, and proceeded to drink water from a glass cup. Tama got up and wiped her lips. Anyway, I will go now. See you later, boring Karna. Saying this, she ran away. I am boring. Karna only stared at her back with his mouth wide open. The Iraqi transformed into a dragon while Amon rode her to Amazon Lily. Amon took a seat on her head and was directing her using an eternal log pose that he got from the underworld. Brother, isn't there a rumor that the pirate empress is the most beautiful woman in the world? Reiki asked as Amon nodded. Her voice was still the same even in her dragon form. She is. And she is strong too. Stronger than me? No, Amon laughed. But she can beat you. You fall into that category after all. What are you talking about? I am very, very strong now. Before she could finish her line, Amon poked her left eye with a conqueror's hockey-coated finger. Ouch! Rocky, the giant Quetzalcoatl, shook aggressively. Bastard! What are you doing? Amon nodded. 2 things. 1, proving you are weak. 2, I am training. I need to learn how to control Conqueror's hockey properly. In the sea, 10 marine ships were moving forward together. In a room of the ship in the middle, an old lady was sitting in her chair smoking as someone knocked on the door of the tomb. Knock, knock. "May I come in, ma'am?" Hearing the voice, Tsuru, the old lady, nodded. "Please do." Instantly, a female marine officer entered the room and stood in front of Tsuru with her hands locked behind her back. The female had light blue hair and pink rosy lips along with green eyes. Her face was oval-shaped, and she was wearing a coat on her back with stars on the shoulders, indicating she was a rear admiral. "Ma'am, we were able to successfully force the pirate empress to undo her devil fruit effect on our sisters," she said with an expressionless professional face. Tsuru nodded silently. Good. That settles it then. Though she was indeed a hard nut to crack. Indeed she was. We only managed to force her by threatening the life of her two sisters. Well, another underhanded tactic. You should stop it, Sayu. Even hearing her, the Rear Admiral Sayu stayed still. Tsuru just sighed. "Anyways, any news about the reinforcements?" Sayu checked her hand watch and reported, "Yes. I talked with them via a Den Mushi just 9 minutes ago. They have almost reached the Amazon Lily, it seems." Seeing Tsuru nod, Sayu then thought with a grim face, "We captured the whole Amazon Lily of 10,000 citizens, but our ships can only hold 5,000. So we are taking 5,000 criminals with us while the remaining 5,000 are still in Amazon Lily, tied up in shackles." Her thoughts ended as Tsuru's old voice reached her ears. "We did leave some of our people to watch over them, but if they somehow free themselves, those few won't be able to stop 5,000 of them from escaping," Tsuru said. "Nonetheless, since the reinforcements have almost reached the island, nothing bad will happen." "You're right, Vice Admiral." She bowed and raised her head. "Then I should leave." Crack! Before Sayu could finish what she was saying, thunder crackled outside the ship. "Thunder?" Sayu frowned. "The sky was clear a minute ago." Tsuru sighed as she looked at the sky via the window. "Ah, Grand Line, and it's bad weather. Brings back old memories, haha." While Tsuru was laughing, outside in the dark sky, the figure of a lone man flying closer to the ships could be seen. Boa Hancock, Pav, clink, clank. "Kah! These shackles won't come off." I was tied to a small cell within the ship of the Marines. My hands were chained above me, shackled to the wall with sea-stone handcuffs. Beside me were Marigold and Sandersonia. They were shackled similarly as well. "Big sister, stop it! Your hands are bleeding!" Hearing Marigold's yelp, I looked at my hands. I tortured them to free myself from these shackles. My hands were truly bleeding a lot, yet I didn't care. If only I listened to that old hag and joined the side of an emperor, all my people wouldn't have been captured along with me at least. I released a sigh. We were 10,000, they were 1,000. Yet they defeated us so easily. We are supposed to be the strongest, the Kuja tribe. But to think we were so weak in the grand scheme of things? Big sis. I gritted my teeth. I have to get out of here. If I don't, then those noble bastards will recognize me and... No! No! I need to escape! Big sister, your body, it's trembling. Marigold's concerned voice entered my ears. I looked at my hands and legs. They were indeed trembling. I see. I'm still traumatized, huh? I was weak. I am weak. I will always be weak. Did nothing change after I was released from that hell? Women are strong. Yes, there are women even stronger than me out there. But they work under those disgusting men. So ultimately, wasn't I just struggling in vain all my life? A teardrop fell onto my thigh. I was crying. My sisters saw this and began to cry with me. Big sis, don't give up. We'll do something. We'll make sure you escape at the very least. Their words made me rethink my life up until now. Escape, huh? We 3 escaped from Marijois 11 years ago. Fisher Tiger helped us. I have been indebted to him ever since, but Marines killed him. The one who killed him was a Marine named Borsellino, the current Admiral Kizaru. I didn't know about this before, but just around the time when the news of his return from death spread throughout the world a few months ago, a mysterious source gave me this piece of news. I didn't care what anyone would gain by giving me this news. The only thing I cared about was that along with the nobles, I also needed to kill that man, Borsellino, to appease my benefactor's soul. Yet, before I could even plan my actions, I was beaten by a mere vice-admiral. Anger was rising in my heart. I felt like coughing up blood. But then I realized something. I'm still trembling. My fear for nobles was a lot stronger than my anger. I looked at my sisters' faces. Big sister. They were crying. I sighed. I know we need to escape somehow. I looked back at them. You two, I have a plan. Before I could even tell them the plan, a deafening sound invaded my ears. Crack! The sound only increased my determination to escape. I, Boa Hancock, escaped once. I took a deep breath. Another time won't be hard. Crack. General Pav. Minutes ago, around the island of Amazon Lily, a feathered dragon could be seen flying through the sky, carrying a man on top of its head. The man, while staring downwards, was stroking the head of the dragon as if it were a pet. Indeed, it was Amon who was rubbing Rocky's head while looking at the island using, "Oh, so the whole island has been captured, I figured as much." Amon gazed down with his eagle-like eyes and frowned. So they took Boa Hancock and half of the Kujas with them while leaving a bunch of women here to look after the prisoners? I also see a few more Marine ships coming here. They must be reinforcements. Amon knocked Rocky's head. Hey, can your wisdom eyes see far? No. I see. Amon took a note of it and nodded. He closed his eyes and canceled eagle vision, only to look at Reiki yet again. Anyways, Raki, reinforcements are coming to the island to capture the prisoners. Do me a favor and take them down. Reiki nodded her huge head. As you order. Meanwhile, I will go and fetch Boa Hancock, Amon said, while stretching his arms. Raki retorted. Hey, I want to meet the Snake Empress too. No, you can't yet. Raki, although she doesn't realize it, has a lot of luck and charisma. She might end up saving Hancock in Amon's place. It would be horrifying. Amon got chills just thinking about it. Sigh, fine. Reiki went silent after sighing. I will do as you say, brother. Amon chuckled, hearing her soft response. Good girl, now go. I will try to return before you finish. You can't. I'd destroy them in minutes, hey. Then it's a challenge, Amon said as he laughed. Saying such, Amon vanished from Rocky's head, while Rocky flew down towards the island. Now that brother's gone, time for destruction. Hey. Rocky stopped mid-air and looked at the shocked faces of everyone below. Is that a dragon? A massive snake? A monster? While people reacted differently, Rocky opened her jaws. A massive orb flew out of it, like how snakes lay eggs. The orb of light prompted everyone to shield their eyes. The orb went out of her mouth and started to float in the sky. Reiki screamed. The sky brightened as a second sun appeared in it. Thousands of small, thin beams shot out of it, advancing towards the Marines. It was Quetzalcoatl's light manipulation ability. This is where Rocky beats Kaido. She doesn't have the power to create the small clouds that Kaido can produce, but she can manipulate light. Zzz. Amon was already 1,000 kilometers away from Rocky. He was floating in the sky while looking down at the 10 Marine ships. Sheesh, Rocky is too strong. I need to awaken my fruit or I'll fall behind, Amon decided while looking down. Hancock is in the middle one. Amon pointed his finger to try and it, but ultimately decided against it. Let's see. That old lady's devil fruit is interesting. The only problem is, killing her would be bad for Amon. Not only Sengoku, but even Garp share a pretty close relationship with her. Right now, even though I do have a bad relationship with the Marines, there aren't any personal conflicts coming from those two monsters. Killing her would put me on their kill list. And from my experience, nothing good comes from being at the receiving end of a powerhouse's personal grudge. Amon shook his head. On a later day, lucky old lady. Amon then snapped his finger as the noon sky changed. Dark clouds started to appear from all over the sky and covered the sun, making the sea as dark as black. Rumble. The sea became aggressive as the ship started to shake by the rough waves, some almost getting devoured by the sea. Big waves were created as the screams of tsunamis filled the air. Amon didn't care and contemplated. Anyway, I do not need to engage in a fight with the Marines, now do I? The fastest option is to move fast and drop each of them in the sea, then take the ships and move it towards Amazon Lily. Stranded in the Grand Line, they won't get the chance to report to their base anytime soon. With a smile, Amon moved while thunder clouds crackled in the sky. In an instant, Amon entered max lightning speed and went inside the left outermost ship. He dropped on the ship's deck and observed the 5 people standing there like statues, frozen in time. I love this feeling of being above everyone. In this world, I am God, and their lives are at my mercy. Amon laughed a peal of maniacal laughter and walked closer to a female and grabbed her waist. I should drop 5 Marines at one spot, then change the area of my drops. Zzz. Amon took the female a few kilometers away from there and lightly placed her in the sea. She stood on top of the water while time was still slowed down. Well then, 4 more to go. Just like in that movie scene with Quicksilver, Amon grabbed the Marine females one by one and dropped them kilometers away from the ship. Finally, coming into the room with Suru and another female Marine officer, Amon grabbed the other girl and dropped her in the sea far from here just like the others, only to return to this room. Instantly, he whistled, looking at Suru. She noticed me when I was flying down here, as expected of her. Amon stared at the narrowed eyes of Tsuru that were staring out the window. Lucky old lady. She can't die today, unfortunately. He grabbed her and moved fast again. Zzzt. Finally, Amon returned to the ship by directly teleporting to the cell Hancock was in, the Snake Empress canceling the God speed. Huh? Boa Hancock blinked as she realized the Marine guards suddenly disappeared from her view. She was planning to free herself by getting a guard close enough to her for her to ambush the guard. But this sudden change in the events changed how things were supposed to play out. Yo. Suddenly, a man's voice entered her ears as her eyes grew wide. Who? She looked around and, surprisingly, found a man in front of her, inside the cell. A frown appeared on her face. She couldn't see his face because of the shadow covering him, as well as the darkness created by the dark clouds blocking the sun. But it was clear. This was a man. Who are you, you disgusting imbecile? Suddenly, the man crouched down and placed his finger on her lips. Shh! Calm down now. I saved you and your people's lives, after all. Treat your benefactor nicely, at least. Boa Hancock instinctively tried to bite off his finger, but suddenly a ray of sunlight came through the window and flashed onto the man's face, making his face clearer. Hancock's eyes grew slightly. It's him! It was the person she had in her mind when thinking about emperors. If I had to join the side of an emperor, it would be him, the person who humiliated the source of my fear and anger. Hancock bit Amon's finger as she stared at his face with wide eyes. Sky Emperor, Amon the Lucifer. Hancock bit Amon's finger while staring at his face with her eyes enlarged. It's him, the guy who humiliated the world nobles in front of the whole world, Hancock thought to herself. But what is a busy man such as he, the 5th emperor, doing here? From an outside point of view, the emperors are supposed to be very busy, even though in reality they are the closest to being most free. With this belief, Hancock was truly confused by his sudden appearance. though it wasn't that hard to intercept what his motive was after seeing how he was trying to free her shackles. Is he here to save me? No. There must be some wicked reason behind his actions. I might admire him, but that doesn't mean it changes the fact that he is a man. I can't let my guard down without knowing him better. Stop biting me. Amon's voice caused her to flinch as she noticed how she was biting his finger. With a frown, Hancock drew back her mouth like a submissive puppy, leaving a thread of saliva connecting from his finger and her mouth. Amon glanced at her for a while before directing his hands towards her handcuffs. Before he could do anything more, Hancock's voice stopped him from doing anything further. "Wait," she said, glaring at him. "Tell me your business here. I don't want to be indebted to a man. Tell me. What do you want in exchange for helping me?" Amon froze for a second, but soon a snicker left his lips. "You are calm, Pirate Empress. Perhaps you have already sensed that there is no Marine left in this vicinity?" Boa Hancock's frown didn't disappear as she sighed. "Just tell me what you want. I hope your desire isn't like every other man." Amon shook his head with an amused face, while the other Boa sisters stayed silent. "I have to say, you are beautiful, but I am not here for what you are thinking. I just need strong subordinates, so I am here to offer the Kuja pirates a chance to join me, not as equals, of course." Boa Hancock didn't react instantly, but the other two Boa sisters did. "We won't work under anyone, and a man like you would be the last person we'd ever be loyal to." Boa Hancock interrupted them. "Marigold, Sandersonia, calm down. We'll discuss it later." Instantly, both sisters shut their mouths. Hancock then looked at Amon. "I can't guarantee that we will work under you, so if you still want to free us, then do it. If not, then leave." Amon smiled softly. "Or you should leave," she says, even though she is so scared and nervous right now, barely keeping her tough act. In reality, Boa Hancock was hoping for Amon to free her. She couldn't sense any Marines, but she couldn't be sure that they disappeared. After all, unconscious people are also hidden to observation hockey. She must be assuming I knocked all the Marines out somehow, either with Conqueror's hockey or my devil fruit, Amon thought as he directed his hands upwards to touch the handcuffs. He glanced at Hancock with a reassuring smile. "No worries. I am confident you will accept my offer." As Amon said this, he touched the sea-stone handcuffs with his palm that was covered by a glove and gripped them strongly. Instantly, Amon's advanced armament, Ryu, flowed through the handcuffs as cracks appeared in them and they broke into pieces the next second. Boa Hancock stared at the scene with indifferent eyes. As one would expect from an emperor. He already knows the advanced form of armament at such a young age. I thought he was the type who was heavily dependent on his devil fruit, but it seems I was wrong. Boa Hancock had a frown on her face as she stared at Amon's face. He doesn't seem to be lying about saving us so that we can join him. If he really is telling the truth, he might be trustworthy. Not too long after, along with Hancock, the other two Boa sisters were also freed. They instantly declared, "Sky Emperor, we won't join you. You are someone who we respect. But that is not enough to make us go under you." Hancock just glanced at them, making them shut up. Amon shrugged. "It's fine. Being slaves do change people and create trauma. Though I won't give up so easily since you did say, you respect me." The three didn't hear anything past the word slave. Their eyes grew as the body trembled. He knows about our secret." Boa Hancock feigned ignorance after gulping her saliva. "Slave? What are you talking about?" Amon sighed. "Trust me, I won't reveal your secret. I have no reason to, even if you don't join. Rest assured." Hearing Amon's words, although the other two Boa sisters were suspicious, Hancock wasn't. She had a great analytic ability, and her gut was telling her this man wasn't lying. We can't do anything but trust him. What she didn't know was that it wasn't her gut that helped her. It was her biased heart. Amon was a man who stood with the people who were at the top. But Boa Hancock wasn't attracted to him because of that. The sole reason was how he humiliated the world nobles, and as a bonus, how he gravely injured Kizaru, the killer of her benefactor. However, the current Boa Hancock wasn't even aware of her feelings. She was rather trying to look for excuses. I've heard about his speed. Now I got to see it firsthand too. He took out thousands of Marine officers in less than a second. My abilities wouldn't work against him if he dodges all my attacks. Ultimately, there was no way she could eliminate him. So it's better to heed to his words for now. Besides, he doesn't seem like other men, Hancock thought. At the same time, she felt a tiny flutter in her heart. Amon smirked in his mind as he sensed the emotions deep within Hancock's heart. Who would have thought the most beautiful woman in the world was such a pushover? This was easier than I thought. Meanwhile, in Amazon Lily, the Marine reinforcements were easily defeated by Rocky. She was currently freeing the Amazons who were tied by ropes with a cheerful smile on her face. She walked closer to a bunch of tied teenagers and cut the ropes with her sword. "Are you guys fine?" "Don't worry. Big Sis Rocky will help you free yourselves." Reiki smiled as the scared girls hugged her tightly. So good now that brother is gone. Meanwhile, a short red-haired Amazon woman in her mid-20s walked closer to Rocky nervously. Rocky turned around, hearing the light yelp, coming face to face with the woman with red hair and her beautiful face. She said, "Sister, can you go save the Snake Empress too? She was taken by the other Marines." Reiki's cheerful smile vanished as she instantly shook her head. "Unfortunately, I can't go. My brother said not to, since he has gone to save her himself. Anyways, he is strong and he will save your Snake Empress." "Ah," the Amazon nodded, even though she didn't understand what the word brother meant. "I understand." Reiki nodded while looking around. There were 5,000 people here. Of these 5,000 people, each was tied in numerous groups. Each group contained a few hundred people. 5,000 people isn't a small sum. This would have been faster if Brother or Yona were here. Thinking this, Rocky ran to another group of tied people to free them, while ordering the freed Amazons to free the tied Amazons too. Meanwhile, not far from there, 10 destroyed Marine ships were floating in the ocean with charred dead bodies on the ships. Other than the Vice Admiral, everyone was killed with one hit. Even so, the Vice Admiral wasn't able to hold on for much longer either. Light manipulation is strong, very much so. Although not being Logia doesn't give Rocky as much versatility as Kizaru, it is still enough on its own.